Hi everybody, welcome once again. And from today onwards, I am starting with a series of videos on international trade. So today's video is regarding free trade, that on what basis countries decide to export or import goods with each other. This diagram that this supply curve represents a total supply by all the countries of the given product, and this demand curve represents a total demand by all the countries. So together this demand and supply curve where they intersect determines the world price of the given product. Now this world price will be taken by all the countries because we assume here that uh, any given country constitutes a very small portion of the total demand and total supply of the given product. So whatever price is determined by the world supply and the world demand will be the final price of the product, which will be given to all the other countries. So based on the world supply and the world demand curve, the price of the price of the product will be given to all the other countries. So as we can see here that this is the world supply curve, and this world supply curve is perfectly elastic. This perfectly elastic world supply curve uh, represents that the countries, those who are trading here, will be price taker and not price makers. Now let's assume that here there is a country A. So this country A will accept the world price and the world supply curve here is perfectly elastic. So basically the domestic price is no longer relevant here, but since the domestic price is lower based on the domestic demand and domestic supply curve, we can see here that at the world price, as we can see here, that the supply is greater than the demand for the product. So therefore, this country A will export Q1, Q2 amount of output at this world price. And please remember that since the country is a price taker here, so the domestic price is no longer relevant here. So this much amount of output Q1, Q2 will be exported at the world price. We can conclude here that under free trade, if the world price is higher than the domestic price, so the good in question is exported. Now let's come to another scenario where the world price is lower than the domestic price of the product. On this figure, as we can see that the world price is lower than the domestic price determined by domestic demand and domestic supply. So again, we can see here that at this world price, the demand for the product is greater than the supply. And as we know that under free trade, under free trade, the countries are price taker here. So the domestic price is no longer relevant. And at this world price, we can see that the domestic demand is greater than the domestic supply. So this much amount of quantity will now be imported Q1, Q2. So we can conclude here that when the world price uh, is lower than the domestic price under free trade, the good in question is imported.